When the world gets weird and the bills get thick, you call on Clint and you feature Dick. One talks numbers, the other talks slick. Two dads, one mic, yeah, this could stick. Clint's crunching figures straight to the point. Dick's just here to laugh in the joint. It's the Clinterific Show, featuring Dick. Dick's quick with a joke, Clint's got the math. Together they'll balance your checkbook and your laugh. They'll talk finance, fun, and fatherly fails, with liquidity dreams and 401k tales. So grab your coffee, join us a ticket, the Clinterific Show, featuring Dick.
Wait, are we live?
And we're live. Welcome back
we are.
to the Clinterific Show after the
With
long
Dick.
summer break hiatus of both of us. We're on
I got bad news.
episode
I got another long hiatus at the end of this month.
23.
Is it only 23?
Yes, we recorded 22 last time. I still have yet to post that one.
No, you posted it.
Did I?
Yes. Are you sure we're not on 24?
We're on this next episode in the sequence, which is X plus 1.
The one after last time. It's the one after last time.
X equaling the previously posted episode.
Nice save.
Yeah.
No one will notice. We can just edit out that first part about us being confused.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, because there's
No one
a
will
lot of
notice.
editing happening on this podcast.
So, sometimes I wonder if there should be.
There probably should be, but at
There
this
should probably
point,
be a
this
lot.
is as live and real as shit gets.
We should just do this live then. Like,
If I knew how to do live things, I would probably do that. But
filmed in front of a live studio audience, except that no one bought any tickets.
that's for the fan to decide. Yay!
Shut up, you suck.
Oh, we're getting a call. No, we're not answering that call.
Oop, that one's my mother. I'll call her back.
Yeah. Oh man.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So had a big crazy vacation kind of last minute.
Yeah.
And went down to the ever lovely Florida and stayed in Miramar Beach near.
Tell me you're not a serious person without telling me you're a serious person. You're not a serious person, Clint. Ever wonderful Florida.
Okay.
Are you kidding me?
Okay, so I grew up in a family with a dad who lived for vacation. Like,
I'm glad your dad lived.
like
I grew up in a family with a dad who lived.
He would give up all luxury throughout the year just to be able to go on like a vacation where he could just blow all the money he wanted.
Oh wow!
And so, like, my idea of living it up as a especially as a younger child was we went to Taco Bell once a week on Sunday night, and I got to get a Mexican pizza. Yeah, the rest of the time we were eating at home with home cooked meals, which that was probably not incredibly uncommon in the 90s, but yeah. So going to Florida as a child creates a lot of these memories, and so going back as an adult now, I'm hoping to tap into some of that garbage nostalgia and all that stuff. Well, needless to say, it's been 30 years since the 90s, and there's been a lot.
Crap, it has.
Yeah,
It's been 30. It's been 36. Well, no. It's been 27 years since the 90s.
so the first time I went to Florida was when I was 6 years old. And my son is turning 6 in 6 days.
So was it his first time in Florida?
No, we've actually gone twice before. We went last October, and then the year before that was the first time. So Lincoln and Evelyn are about 17 months apart. We took him the first time when Lincoln was 3 to Disney World. So Lincoln was 3 and Evie was 2. So
Setting the bar low there.
yes. So so that being said, we go down to Florida, and this year we were like, okay, let's just do a cheap vacation. We waited until the last possible second, and if you didn't know this, here's a money tip for you.
Okay.
Airbnb and VRBOs, they have like discounts that they start doing if it gets up to a point where there's an allotted time that's the location hasn't been rented out.
Oh.
And so they'll mark them down significantly, like 50, 60, 70% off, depending on how desperate they are and what time frame you're looking at. So normally this place that we stayed at probably would have been between $4,000 and $6,000, and we got it for like $2,300 for 8 days. So,
man, like I can sleep in a really nice tent for like a fraction of that.
oh yeah, but it's not beach adjacent.
Even better. I hate the beach.
Oh well, I'm starting to, especially in
sand.
Florida.
It's rough and it gets into everything.
Oh my goodness, yes. You know, like everybody gives Anakin so much of a hard time for
Glad you got
that line,
reference.
but the reality is he's not wrong.
Right.
He's not wrong. And I have
He's
said
1,000% right.
I have said that exact dialogue in my head 40,000 times before he said it in that movie.
Dude, I say it
I hate saying
out loud.
I hate
say it out loud anytime someone talks about the beach and they're like, "You don't like the beach?" And I'm like, "No, the sand,
The
it's
lake,
nothing.
the
It's
lake
nothing."
is so much better than the beach.
Well, hang on a second. Let's qualify that because I live in the central plains states, and our lakes are just mud pits.
Okay, well,
And-
good lakes and like the ones that are in Arkansas are great.
I do prefer a nice rocked bottom lake or river, for that matter.
You know, that actually reminds me. I think the last time that you came down to Arkansas was
Yeah,
when
we
we
went-
stayed out at Aaron's lake house, and we did battle tubing when you still had your gorgeous long flowing locks of hair.
No, I've been back since.
Wait, no,
I've been
that's
back
right. You
since
came
then.
back.
That was
You did come for my wedding. So
I came for your wedding. We went tubing down that river that one time. I came.
did you? Oh, that's right. You did come down for that.
I came for Thanksgiving that one year when. Well, let's skip over that part.
I was very thankful.
All I can
Oh,
say
man.
is the attic was not tall enough for me, and I'm not a tall man.
Oh
well.
yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah, yeah.
It was.
That's-
It's fine. Anyway, so
You got to stand in the tip. The tip of the roof.
the tip is where it's at. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's where the sweet spot is.
Just the tip.
But anyway, yeah, it's just really funny that you say that because like that was one of the greatest trips out to the lake house we ever had. We had so much fun doing battle tubing. I don't know, like it's one of those things where like I swear kids these days are like, yeah, we do these crazy things where we play let's eat a Tide Pod challenge. Okay, like why is that the activity that you decided to be crazy with?
I don't know, man.
You know,
I don't know. They're dumb.
Yeah.
Can we really
we did
blame
dumb
them?
things, but it was like, okay, yeah, battle tubing is probably one of the most extreme dumb things that we ever did. And for those of
It
you
was
at
a good
home
time.
who don't know what battle tubing is, you essentially take 2 or 3 inner tubes behind a boat, and
Yeah.
you create teams. Teams go on said tubes, and one team tries to take the other team off of their tube. And you do so by jumping between said tubes. So you get points based on how many people you knock off. And if you're somehow able to jump from your tube to the other tube and get on the tube and remove 2 people from the tube without getting knocked off, you get like 10 points because that's basically impossible to do.
So my best moment when we did that battle too, I remember I think it was Edwin. Edwin tried to jump onto the tube I was on, and I stiff armed him. I straight up stiff armed him, just like straight into the water.
Yeah,
it's like yes,
that was amazing.
That felt so good.
And mind you, these boats are going incredibly quickly. It's not like they're trying to, make you go over the waves. They're going fast.
Yeah, so, we were moving.
Oh man, yeah, that was good times. So anyway, back to the there's been a lot of laws and regulations that have changed in Florida in the last 30 years. And the biggest problem that I have with it is that, at least for the beaches that I've been to, there's a enormous amount of commercialization that has happened. And so you cannot even get on the beach in a lot of these places without it being a sea of these are amenities that you can rent for the day. And it's $30 for a chair and an umbrella for a day. And the problem is you have to walk through 5,000 of these stupid chairs to get to the beach. And there's, 6 inches of beach that you can actually sit on, or you're actually in the ocean. And so it's just gotten to a point now where, these, I guess there was a regulation that got passed that the hotels and people that owned the beachfront property actually do get to buy and to some extent regulate who gets to go on the beach and where they get to go in. So there's some public access beaches, and then there's private access, which is but the problem is you're not supposed to walk through the private access beaches to get to the public access. So it basically,
how do you get there?
Well, you have to either go park on a private beach, which good luck finding a parking spot. We tried to go to a restaurant that was near the beach and spent an hour and 45 minutes just looking for a parking spot. And that was for a restaurant. But the problem is the restaurants, they have all their parking lots full by people who are going out to the beach for the public beach. Because all of the land that used to be parking lots is now hotel chains and apartment complexes.
Interesting.
So, yeah, long story short, we had a good vacation. It was nice to get some relax. but the place that we stayed at, it was like a Sandestin resort. And the nice part about it was there's 5 pools in the resort, and they spray for bugs everywhere, which is one of the most annoying parts about Florida anymore. I don't know if anybody watching this is a Florida native, but have you ever heard of a no-see-um bug?
Yeah.
Like sand, I think they're sometimes called sand fleas or whatever. We went down to Florida back in October, got eat alive by those stupid things. Anna had probably 300 different bites all over her legs because we didn't know those were even a thing. And so I'm like, yeah, forget that. I'm all done.
The more you know.
Yeah. So fun fact for those of you who love our corporate overlords, I found out from Google. Well, not from Google, but that Google is apparently genetically / bioengineering a large, like 64 million or something like that, mosquitoes that they're going to release. And there's something about this breed that apparently is supposed to cause them to go sterile and not be able to procreate anymore. So I'm like, yay, no more mosquitoes. Because like, if there was one thing on this planet that I hated the most, it would be mosquitoes.
Okay, so their plan to get rid of mosquitoes is to make more of them.
Well, they don't reproduce, though. Like, they have some kind of gene in them that the next generation loses the ability to procreate in any capacity.
I just want to.
I'm not a geologist. I don't know how it works.
Right. I just want to put this out there. I think this is probably a very relevant quote from an old movie you may have heard. It's called Jurassic Park. Life finds a way. Yeah, life finds a way.
So, as I was reading this article about these bugs, which I don't know whether this is 100% confirmed or not, but as I'm reading this article, it reminds me of one of my favorite, if not my favorite, episode of the Dollop podcast. It's called McQuarrie Island, I believe.
Go on.
McQuarrie Island. So it's an island in the Pacific Ocean. I believe it's close. It's off the coast of Tasmania, between Tasmania and Antarctica.
Okay. McQuarrie Island.
So this is a perfect example. It's a pretty small island. Let me see if I can find the size. Okay, so it's 128 square kilometers, 49 square miles. So it's a tiny little island. Well, without getting into the entire thick of everything that happened on this island, it is a perfect example of how stupid human regulations can cause problems in situations like this. So, long story short, the island used to be covered in seals. Like, covered. They were so thick that you could not walk without stepping on one, basically. Well, at this time, when the island was being explored, they used seals for oil. Because this was around the 1810, I believe, when it was started to be, 1810 when it started getting explored. So, and I'm not going to go into all of the details about what happened, but basically what happened was they hunted the seals to the point of extinction on this island because the seals had never seen people, and even if they had, they're just all over the place. Like there was a guy that had like a journal, and he was talking about how you could literally just walk up to them and club them and throw them into the oil extracting machine, whatever it was. So, and I guess if the island was not, if there was any spot on the island that was not covered by seals, it was covered by penguins. So they killed all the seals, and then this guy invented a machine that allowed you to extract oil out of penguins. And the penguins were even dumber than the seals. So they created this ramp type system where they literally just funnel the penguins up this ramp and dump them into the extruder, and it just mashes all the oil out of them at the same time. And so,
wow.
So it gets better because, like, it talks about the atrocities that these guys did killing all these animals because they're trying to get enough, get all the oil that they can out of it. And the boats coming in had rats. Well, this is all over a matter of like 90 years, give or take. Well, So the island gets put on, these rats get on the island. Well, the rats have no natural predators. So within like 20 years, it is covered in rats.
Gross.
So they start bringing cats in.
Are you serious?
So it's like every 15 years they have to bring in a new predator to try to fix the mess that they created with the last problem they just brought.
Good.
But yeah, it is
hilarious.
Hilarious.
What did they bring in to kill all the cats? Coyotes?
Snakes, I believe.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm serious. And at some point, the island gets covered in snakes.
Then what do you do to kill the snakes?
Great question.
Is it still infested with snakes?
I don't know, because the podcast that I listened to was it's about 10 years old now.
Holy crap, man.
And so to be perfectly honest, I don't remember exactly what happened at that point, but it is an incredibly comical podcast. It's about an hour and a half long, but they talk about all the horrible atrocities that were done on this island, and that's one of my favorite podcasts. I don't know if you've ever listened to it, because typically it's an American history podcast, but they got super popular overseas. Like they're really, really popular in Australia, and so they do tours over there. They'll do like a live episode talking about things in Australian history, and this one was close because it was off the island of Tasmania. So yeah, it's it's definitely worth listening to. But it's one of those things where it's like incredibly obvious how things escalate so quickly with people trying to make as much money as possible really fast, and they do a lot of really, really dumb things trying to fix the problems that they just created. So yeah, anyway, segue completely derailed where I was planning on going with the beginning of this podcast, because obviously this is supposed to be a financial education podcast. But yeah, tip of the day, if you want to save some money going down to Florida, don't go. or the actual tip is to wait until the last minute and just, get the deep discounted properties and stuff like that. It's worth a shot.
I like your first tip.
Yeah.
Don't.
Just don't.
Just don't.
Yeah. So, speaking of things you should not do, that leads us into our financial education topic of the day. So we're going to talk about the top 5 things that you can spend money on that are the absolute worst return on investment.
Oh, great. Okay. Keep a finger up.
Okay.
I'm ready.
Number 5, because I'm going to go in reverse undersending order. Okay, so number 5 is predatory financing on consumer goods.
Oh.
Okay, so
I'm just kidding.
If it's just crap that you're buying for your house, or like clothes or toys or whatever, designer pet goods, high-end retail goods that are via short-term loans, you're going to run into enormous interest rates. Everybody that's got a credit card knows that credit card interest rates are 20+%, period. If you're paying 20+% interest on a card, it is way, way too expensive. So,
absolutely.
When you're paying for that item, it's always better to pay in cash, because it's something that you're not going to get any value on anyway. And I think most people understand that. If I go to the store and I buy, the kids a couple toys, am I going to get any money back out of that? Probably not. Maybe on the off chance that, like Lincoln likes to buy Pokemon cards every once in a while. Okay, like we may find something that goes nuts and we put it in a box and forget about it for 35 years, and then it turns into the next $3 million Charizard card because we didn't realize we had it. But for the most part, people realize that these things are not going to appreciate or even return the value that you've put into them. But at the very minimum, keeping it from draining your bank account even more, that's what you need to avoid. So what they do is they create what's called a negative feedback loop, because the debt burden outlives the utility of the item purchased, and then it prevents allocation of capital towards anything that could give you an actual return on investment. So just keep that in mind. It's kind of a no-brainer. Just, don't buy this stuff on insane levels of credit card debt. Number four. Brand new automobiles. And I will be the first to admit, I understand completely the appeal, because we're taught that the purchase of a brand new vehicle means that you've got a safety net for 36 to 60 to 100,000 miles to, I got the extended warranty and it's covered until 140,000 miles. Okay, well, here's the truth of the situation.
That's bullshit.
It is 100% bullshit. And I'm going to tell you why. So the vehicles are almost always anymore designed to some extent to have the issues that they have when they have them. It's called what is it? Intentional obsolescence?
No, it's
what's the term?
Planned obsolescence.
Yes. They want you to buy a new car. So they're going to give you a car that's going to fall apart right around the time that warranty expires. Unless you buy the warranty, and then they're just going to push the stuff. Here's the problem I have with this, because I fell for it. I jumped in hook, line, and sinker when we bought our minivan. We bought a Honda Odyssey. Honda is a great company, great vehicles, but we decided to go ahead and buy the extended warranty. We had just gotten out from under two vehicles that we had taken a bath on in repairs and stuff like that. And we're like, okay, we're going to try to give us some additional protection, because I know that a lot of these new cars have all these electronics and stuff like that, and they've been having significant issues. Well, we buy this van. It was brand new. It had 15 miles on it when we bought it. And within the first year, we started having issues with the electronic door close mechanism for the back, the back seat doors. So, for those of you who are unaware, Honda Odyssey has buttons that you can open and close the back doors from the driver's seat. So you push a button, then the door slides open. You push it again, and the door will slide close and lock into place the way that it's supposed to. The mechanism for opening and closing works exactly the same when it's when you're opening it from outside to use the handle or use the button. There is a sensor in the door that if it senses anything in that door or finds any level of resistance, it will stop closing and start opening again, which is great from a safety mechanism perspective.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is, if there's nothing there and it senses something, it's not going to close. And so we started having that issue within the first year. We took it to the dealership at least 7 times, telling them that the issue was occurring, and they could, and the dealership assured us that they could not find it, they could not replicate the issue in any capacity, and if they can't replicate it, they can't fix it. That was I get the logic there. I worked at an auto shop and a quick lube for 3 years. I understand that there's issues that you can run into by not being able to recreate the problem. Mm-hmm. That being said, we had been telling them for the entire time that we owned that vehicle that we had the issue. Mm-hmm. They could not get it to replicate. They could not get it to happen. And we put a lot of miles on that van. We were driving about 25 to 30,000 miles per year on that van. So by the end of 2025, we had 160,000 miles on that van. We didn't really drive my car anyway. It basically just sat in the driveway most of the time. So anytime we went anywhere, it was in the van. all that to be said, the warranty expired at, I think it was like 130,000 miles or 120,000 miles. We took it back to have something looked at, and it was around 125,000 miles or 135,000 miles, whatever it was. It was right after our extended warranty had gone kaput. They tell us that they found the door issue and could fix it now. And it was going to cost $1,700 for this stupid little sensor. And I was like, you are out of your mind if you think I'm going to pay you out of pocket for that. We have been reporting that since this vehicle had 5,000 miles on it. And you're going to try to pull that now? Needless to say, I was livid. And after that, I decided I am never paying for an extended warranty again. Because what they're going to do is they're going to push it down the road. They're going to tell you that they can't find it. If you take it to a non-official dealership mechanic, then they're just going to tell you that the warranty's voided. Yeah. So they're creating systems. They're going to make you pay. And so having a new vehicle is not really saving you anything because you're paying an enormous amount of money to buy that new vehicle. And like I said, I fell for it hook, line, and sinker. I will say this. One of the biggest problems that I have is in the 80s and 90s when we were growing up, my first car I got in 2003. It was a 1985 Toyota Celica. It was a great car. I think it had about 160,000 miles on it. We got it from my aunt, and the car ran well. It was an old Toyota. So it was not the coolest looking car by any stretch of the imagination. Right. I know the whole 1980 to 1989 stretch of vehicles I just thought did not look great. They did that really boxy, like sharp edges thing with a lot of different cars. I know the Ford Mustang did it too, and I just did not like that look. Hated it. Anything before that I thought looked pretty good, in the 60s and 70s, and then in the 90s they started rounding things off a little bit, and all that. But had that vehicle and drove it for 5 years, I think, 4 or 5 years. Had no problems with it, even after I wrecked it. Went ditch diving and never had any real problems with that car. And it was designed to be driven into the ground. Now, the second vehicle I got was a newer model Toyota Celica. I just loved that car. It was a 1994 Toyota Celica, and great little four-cylinder, 2-door sports-esque type car. Got good gas mileage, low maintenance, all that stuff. At that time, the vehicles were designed way better. Mm-hmm. They didn't have all this electronic crap. Everything was mostly manual. It had, I think the 94 one had automatic windows. But the seats were manual, it was cloth seats, all this stuff. And I paid $4,000 for it and drove it for 6-7 years, something like that. Maybe 8 years. I drove it until I was out of college. And I got regular oil changes on it, made sure that all the fluids were topped off where they needed to be. The vehicle never had any problems. The only issue I had was the timing belt broke, which in most vehicles meant your motor's gone. But in 91, I think it was, up until about 2003, I believe, Toyota had designed a free spinning system inside the motor that if your belt broke, the basically the motor would just shut down and not send your pistons through your head.
Right.
Yeah. So my belt broke and the car just stopped. Well, instead of it costing me $4,000 for a brand new motor or a motor replacement, I just had to pay for a new belt to be put on and started it back up and got another 25,000 miles out of the thing. That's the way the vehicles were designed. So you could, as long as you took good care of them, reasonable amounts of maintenance, kept the oils changed, made sure that the oil was, where it was supposed to be, and the fluids were topped off, and you did what you were supposed to do with your radiator and your coolant and all that stuff, the vehicle was going to run. And I don't think vehicles do that anymore. I think since about 2015, the vehicles are not designed as well. So they're going to start falling apart at very specific points, which is usually between 100 and 150,000 miles, because that's when they're getting to the point where they want you to buy another vehicle. And on top of that, I think the other problem is I don't believe that kids know how to take care of their vehicles anymore. I mean, I know I could go out with I could go to AutoZone right now. Mm-hmm. That's, 2 minutes down the road from my house. I could buy all of the supplies that I would need, and I could do an oil change without needing a manual. I know how to do that. And I would be willing to bet that a vast majority of the population has no idea how to change their oil now.
Yeah, I mean, it's really important to know some of that stuff. I mean, just this last weekend, I took apart mine because I've been having some misfires.
Uh-huh.
And so I was like, yeah, I don't want to take it in, whatever. It's an old car anyway. So I bought a $5 bottle of brake cleaner and took out all the spark plugs and sprayed with brake cleaner and
probably runs like a new
vehicle. With a wire hose. Oh my gosh! Like put it back in. Yeah. It's like, oh, I forgot how much power this thing has when it works properly.
Yeah.
I was like, yes, she's a V8. Yeah, mine's a V8.
Yeah.
It took me quite a while because trying to get first of all, the ignition coils are right there on top, and underneath those are the spark plugs.
Yeah.
But getting the wiring harness off to be able to then take the ignition coils out was a pain. And on one side, my air intake is right over the hole for the I think it's the number one cylinder, and trying to get a wrench in there.
Oh man, yeah. And yours, it's an Audi. I don't know why German that's German, isn't it?
Yes, it's German.
Yeah, that German engineering, they've got some amazing engineering, but
they do.
The processes to get into work on these things just mind-boggling to me.
I had a neighbor who was a mechanic help me change something on I can't remember what it was. It was a belt, maybe. It was a belt actually, I think. And you had to pull off the front. There are little bolts. There's bolts in it. You loosen,
the whole front of the car pops off, and
they're super long bolts. And so you loosen them a little bit, and then you slide the bumper back. And he was swearing a blue streak. He was so pissed.
Yeah,
I could tell he super regretted agreeing to help me.
I should not have volunteered for this.
Yeah, and he's I never want to work on an Audi again.
Yeah,
Actually, I can't say I blame him.
Fun tip though, and that's the thing it's important to be able to even just take a step back and say, you know what, I can find information. I'm intelligent enough as a person to be able to work on my own vehicle, because there's a lot of thought process behind these advanced engineers that are like, yeah, we want you to think you can't work on this because it's too complex, but the reality is, it's not changing your oil is not mind-boggling science.
Yeah, the internal combustion engine the internal combustion engine has been the same for
a long time.
There is no one alive on this earth currently that was alive when there was somehow a different kind of internal combustion engine. Like it's been, they've had it working this way for a very long time.
Yeah.
So a lot of those principles are the same. The problem is that we've decided to tack on a whole bunch of extra BS.
Yes.
That makes it overcomplicated.
Excessive electronic stuff.
Yes. That's one of the reasons why I love my car, because it doesn't have a lot of those. I mean, it has electronics. All cars have electronics to a point, but I don't got some stupid fucking 12-inch iPad bullshit nonsense in the center of my dash. Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait until that goes wrong. And it's you know why we didn't buy TVs with built-in DVD players is because when the DVD player went bad, you'd throw the whole damn TV out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
so true. when your dashboard iPad goes out, well, there goes your car.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
Man, get off my lawn.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so here's my fun factoid that I found out today. So, well, I think it was yesterday, but Caleb Hammer from Financial Audit, love his channel. He's hilarious to watch him tear a new one to some of these people who are just so completely oblivious to their financial issues. It's like, I didn't realize I was spending $9,000 a month on DoorDash.
How do you not know that? I think you could probably have left off the part about finances and just said completely oblivious.
Well, that's true. Yeah. But so he was actually invited to go on Joe Rogan's podcast. So they did a podcast. It was awesome. I loved it. So I'm watching it, and one of the things he's talking about, the very thing that we're talking about now, is these people go buy a new vehicle because they believe that it's giving them a level of security that is no longer there. You can get the amount of depreciation. It depends on the vehicle, but it's anywhere between 25 and 55% on the first 2 years of owning a vehicle.
I thought it was like 30% when you drove it off the lot.
No, it's not that extreme. That people tell you that because it just sounds worse than it actually is. You'll probably lose your down payment. But it's maybe 10% at absolute most, because that's really just what the markup is, if I'm being completely honest. But anyway, they're talking about how, go buy a 2 to 3 year old vehicle with 50,000 miles. That's going to be where your sweet spot is on value for what you're getting.
And so, go back further than that for me.
Well, I don't disagree, and I think there are vehicles that you could go back further than that and get really high value. Like if you went and bought a 2016 Honda Accord, that's going to be, you're going to pay $10,000 for that, and it's going to drive for 300,000 miles. Now you're going to have to replace some of the electronics and stuff like that, but you're going to pay $10,000 for it in if you're smart about it, you'll pay that in 2 years, have it paid off, and then in year 3 is when you may start having to pay some level of maintenance and repair to fix some of the electronics and stuff like that are going out. But one of the interesting things, because it's funny because you drive your Audi, they were talking about this on the podcast. He said one thing that a lot of people don't know right now is that there is a fully electric Audi that you can get right now that 2022 or early or newer for like $25,000 with 30,000 miles on it. And I was like, bullshit. There's no way, because these things are like 60,000 to 70,000 vehicles brand new. I was like, bullshit. There's no way. There's no way I could go find that. So I got on Auto Trader and Cars.com and a couple different websites. Immediately found 15 of them exactly like they're talking about. And I was like, I'm thinking about going and trading my car in on one of these.
The iPad broke. That's why they're selling it.
I mean, like, I think what happened, but they've got like 20, 30,000 miles on it.
Doesn't matter.
Like, that's basically brand new. And so I'm like, okay, not that I'm actually going to do that, but like, there was at least a thought process in my mind that I'm like, hey, I could have a really nice sports tuned electronic vehicle that'll go 0 to 60 in like 2 seconds. The maintenance costs are significantly lower on an electrical vehicle. And the depreciation is not really going to happen. The only thing I'm really going to have to pay is when the battery eventually goes out. And those typically are around 120,000 miles. So I'm going to get 100,000 miles out of that vehicle. That's at least 10 years for me. So I'm like, well, maybe that's worth doing.
All right. So I want to do this. I want to look at this. How old did they say you should go back?
22 to 25.
22 to 25. So if I go minimum 22,
so it's called a Honda. It's called an Audi e-tron.
I don't care about that car. No. I want to take some of their parameters. Okay, they're saying you got to buy something that's at least a year to 3 or 4 years old, right?
And here's the reason that you're doing that. Because the vast majority of the depreciation of that vehicle is going to happen in the first 2 years.
Okay.
So the curve goes, really sharp and then levels off.
So I'm looking at 22 to 25.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna put in. I have 3 major things that I want in a car. Okay. Right. Okay. The first one is 4 doors.
Yep.
The second one is all-wheel drive.
Okay.
Or 4-wheel drive of some sort, and the third one is manual.
Okay. Well, the manual is going to be your death sentence anymore, because the vast majority of vehicles that are made, I don't even know that they make them with a manual transmission anymore. I do believe Subaru would be probably the only real option that you have that meets all of those criteria.
So there are a few. I'm looking at.
Okay.
Let me see if this works. Can you see? Are you seeing my screen or just my camera?
I see it.
All right, so I got 1,800 matches here.
Really?
Yeah, 1,800, and this is nationwide. I put nationwide, so I didn't put like a location, like limiter on it, right? Here's a Volkswagen for $45,000. It has 16,000 miles on it. That's not bad.
That's brand new. It's just a model that never got sold, but it's new.
I'm not interested in, honestly, after owning an Audi for 14 years, I'm not interested in another German.
Yeah.
Freaking expensive to repair.
Yeah. Subaru WRX, I have heard good things about those, and I do believe that would meet the criteria that you have.
Oh, it does. See, this is my filters here. So I also wanted gas because I ain't into that hybrid shit. There are a few Toyotas, but the Tacoma is going to come in I think it's going to be. I don't think I'll see much that's not the double door short bed.
Oh, yeah.
But lots of Subarus and some Corollas here too, which I would consider if I gave up on life. Jeep if I wanted
Corollas. I like Toyota as a car manufacturer, and the Toyota Corolla would be a great vehicle from a consistency perspective. It's just too small.
It's too small and it's kind of boring. If I'm honest, same with the Golf. Like the Golf, I don't find the Golf to be a boring car. I think they're pretty cool freaking cars, but at the same time, it's pretty dang small. I've noticed that I see Jeeps on here, and those would be great if you want to drive a dealer rent, borrow car while it's in the shop.
Exactly.
You put more miles.
This is great. I've been dodging a Dodge Durango for the last 6 months.
Oh, when did you buy it? No, it's not mine. My Jeep's in the shop.
Yeah. This is just a loaner. Yeah.
Apparently the Ford Bronco comes in a manual, which I did not know.
Yeah,
that's kind of
but
cool.
I mean, you're going to pay through the nose for one of those things.
This one's only $35,000.
Is that a 4-door?
Let's look. Yes, it is.
Oh, it's a soft
four-door.
top. It's a soft top, which, I mean, whether that's really that big of a deal or not, I doubt.
I mean, that's not.
How much is it?
That's not bad. That's not. I mean, soft top's not bad if you just drive into the nail salon. This one they want. Where did it go? $35,000. 2022.
That's steep. How many miles? I can't.
60K.
Yeah, see, that's where my problem comes in.
Here's where my problem comes in.
A
2.4 liters. 2.3 cylinder, sorry, 2.3 liter 4-cylinder.
That's the problem I have with so many of these new vehicles. Blech. I'm like, you put this little nutless machine,
nutless,
like a 2.4 liter in that.
Yeah, dude, it's
you'll never convince me that does not need a V6 at the minimum.
I know. Yeah, dude. It seems shameful to me.
Yeah.
That they put such a small engine in it.
Yeah.
At least when Subaru puts their boxer engines in it in their WRXs, I know they're going to create over 200 horsepower with that turbo, and they're a small car, so like it justifies it.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it. Well, look at these WRXs, like 22,000, 20,000, even this 56,000. Like, look at this, on all of them under 30K for it. Yep. There's one with only this one's,
and I guarantee you would have a blast driving that car.
I probably would. Oh, here's some more Broncos. This is more like what I expected to see for the Broncos.
Yeah.
Another Tacoma. I do, man. I miss when my wife and I first got married. We had a taco. We had a long bed, like access cab taco. So it wasn't like dude, that thing was a beast. I loved it.
They're good trucks, and I had considered getting a.
Oh look, it has an iPad. Never mind.
Oh yeah, the new ones. Yeah. Anything 23 or newer has. I don't know if there's really many vehicles that don't have some kind of iPad display past like 23 or 24.
Dude, I mean,
even on the base models.
If it didn't take up like the entire dashboard, like, am I also going to have to pay a monthly subscription to keep ads off of it from Jeff Bezos?
Not all of them.
Come on.
Not all of them.
Look at this.
Yep.
Look at this.
Yep.
This is so dumb. So dumb.
And actually that's interesting because there started to be a resurgence of physical buttons. So
this one's in. Look at this. This one got imported.
Ooh. The 2026 Pilot that we just got was they went from, because Honda was considering doing like the bigger screen, kind of like everybody else on the market, but they actually decided to keep it with the smaller screen and keep the vast majority of the physical buttons for all of the climate control. And everybody was giving them praise for it because I hate the digital controls for your climate control.
Yeah.
Hate them. Horrible. That's one of the biggest things I can't stand about my Kia.
Yeah.
It has like a dual purpose menu that can act as your media controls or the air conditioner and temperature controls and stuff like that. Well, if you accidentally bump the button that's right next to the knob, it switches to the other purpose. So I've about blown my eardrums out because I was trying to turn the air conditioner up and I turned the volume all the way up.
Whoops.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, before I'll stop screen sharing because we go on this for forever.
Oh yeah.
I just wanted to point out, I noticed that this 2023 Subaru WRX Premium has a larger engine than that Bronco, and it gets better gas mileage.
Yeah. Well, the problem with those Broncos, you're going to get like 4 miles to the gallon because the tires are so freaking huge.
It's so stupid.
Yeah. So you have no power and you have no gas mileage.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
It's been unicized, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
so
for sure.
dumb.
Yeah. So anyway, if you're looking
that was item 4.
If you're looking for a great electronic vehicle that is worth way more than it's selling for, but the values just fall off a cliff because nobody wants to buy them used, go get an Audi e-tron.
Audi e-tron.
It's like a it's kind of like a sports wagon. But they will scoot real fast, fully electric, so you got significantly less maintenance and repair costs, at least until the battery eventually craps out on you. But yeah.
Or if anything else goes wrong on it, because it's the German car and they're freaking expensive to maintain.
Yeah. Yeah.
I will never go to my local Audi dealer again.
So
freaking pirates.
I've done some more research and I actually do have to say I'm actually surprised at how things have changed on electronic vehicles versus, combustion vehicles. The maintenance costs are way, way lower. Like it's
on what?
On the electric vehicles. It's
sure. They have less moving parts. There's
a ton less that you have to maintain as well.
That's because they have less moving parts.
Well, but there's more to it than that because I understand what you're saying, but there's other caveats that are creating those lower maintenance costs. And so anyway, for whatever that's worth, point number 4, don't buy a new automobile. Buy something used. Just don't buy something that was wrecked. That's the only thing I would throw out there.
Holy crap, man. Here's a 2021 e-tron with 25,000 miles on it, and they want $23,000.
Exactly, yeah. And brand new, they were like $60,000 to $70,000 vehicles. I have never been one to consider like, oh yeah, I'm going to go buy a used electronic vehicle until I saw that. Sorry, not electronic, electric vehicle. Until I saw that and I was like, maybe.
That is wild, man.
Yeah.
Okay, so, anyways.
Number 3.
Point number 3.
Oh, German.
I learned to do this in college because this.
Have you never seen Inglourious Bastards?
This can mean something bad. This can mean something bad. This doesn't mean anything except for 1, 2, 3. Yes, and I've seen Inglourious Bastards, and I do remember the scene where he does this, and they go
3.
Yeah, this is.
He's a dirty German. Anyway,
freaking Germans. The fact that they standardize hand signals for numbers. That's the most German thing I've ever heard of.
That's how you know that they're not they're not a Nazi. Number 3, specialty performance assets. For example, a racehorse.
Oh,
racehorses are horrible return on investment. Listen, I've never thought about buying a racehorse, but just to throw this out there, don't.
Okay, but like let's bring it down a notch because you're talking about people who have money that can afford to do that kind of thing.
Listen, this is about return on investment, and the return on investment.
I get it.
On average, is the the third on the list is
sure
a racehorse.
All I'm saying is that the 1 or 2 people that watch our podcast probably aren't considering buying racehorses either. So,
I know I'm not.
What's another example?
Either, so we've reached our core audience.
What's another example of what was it? Performance what?
Yeah. So purchasing animals or equipment for high stakes competition. So like a race car. For high stakes competition, often results
or dirt bike.
in a net capital lost. The cost of ownership including boarding, medical care, specialized training, and transportation, often dwarfs any potential prize money that you could get or resale value from the said asset, whether it's a car or a motorcycle or a horse or a beaver.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we're not going to spend a lot of time on that. If the audience wants us to talk more about why racehorses are a bad investment, throw a little comment down in the comment section, and we'll dive deep. We'll go deep on that in the next couple episodes.
I mean, at least with a horse, if the racing part doesn't work out, you can always turn it into glue, and you can make some of your loss back there.
I legitimately thought that you were going to talk about turning it into a stud, and I was like, the problem is, if you ain't winning, you ain't making any money to stud it out.
So glue it is.
So glue it is. Yep. Meet Elmer. Elmer the horse. Hey, where'd you get that glue? Oh, it's Elmer's glue.
It's Elmer's glue. You know, like the ridiculous names they give horses. Like,
yeah.
Oh my gosh! Sorry, I'm going down another rabbit hole again. I'm just thinking, like, you got to name your horse some kind of like glue adjacent. Race horse names.
Man of War, Seabiscuit, American Pharaoh, Frankel.
Those are okay. How about where is
Mama's fur coat, Nacho Business,
Battleship.
Not so fast.
Everyone called Battleship. Brigadier Gerard. The heck. Country House. Who races like a country house?
Sea Swallow. Sea Spitz.
Swallow.
My Dad George.
My Dad George.
Tony Graff.
Pulpit. What the heck? Pulpit.
Fred Jr.
Dude, I want to name it like, you know how lately in anime they've been coming with these super ridiculously long names?
Oh my goodness, yeah.
For
it's like,
titles?
how do you, what episode, or what anime are you watching? Oh, I'm watching That Time I Got Turned Into a Spider, and that's the coolest thing of all time, but you'll never find out. What? It took me 10 minutes to say the title.
You should name a horse that. Yeah. Something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Trouble brewing.
My mother was a mare, but my father was a donkey. I bet you can't guess what my school pictures look like. Steps up into the paddock.
The announcer runs out of breath as he's trying to name the horses.
I just take a deep breath and swear in his breath. Fucking Orlando racehorse owners.
Oh, that's hilarious. Hidden Stash.
Oh my gosh.
Citizen Bull.
Rice Shower.
A Dragon Killer.
Dude, apparently racehorsing is really big in Japan. Because I'm looking at a list and it's like, there's a lot of weird Japanese names.
They're typically short. So it's a sport that they're able to compete in. Average.
The horses? Horses are short?
No, the people.
That's because they're jockeys. Jockeys are like...
I know, jockeys are short. That's why Japanese are like it lets them aspire. Like, everybody in Norway is like 6'10". They're like, oh yeah, we love basketball because we can, play basketball. Everybody in Japan is like, we love horses because we can fit on top of them.
I mean, they have bigger horses. I mean...
They have bigger horses.
They have bigger horses and...
I'm going to be a jockey.
You can't. You're not. You weren't born on Jockey Island.
And here comes some lucky son of a bitch.
Is that the name of your horse?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, one unlucky son of a bitch. Because then the horse runs across the line and he's panting. That's funny because horses don't pant.
Right.
Highbrow humor. Anyway, moving on. Number two.
Are we on 2 now? 2?
We are working on our 3D vision editing. So 2.
Better than smell-o-vision.
Smell-o-vision. Yeah. Welcome to our financial podcast where we have added smells to the experience.
You're welcome.
They're not good smells. Anyway, high-end consumer electronics, such as
this one hurts.
It is. This is. I felt personally attacked when I read this one because I was like, yeah, that makes sense.
Well, you got to qualify what you mean by high-end consumer electronics. Too.
Mobile phones, smartwatches, and a
shit.
and a premium laptop.
They suffer from watch a couple months ago.
Extreme levels of rates of depreciation due to rapid production cycles. Obviously, because there's new ones coming out every 6 months. I mean, the thing is like it used to be like your phone had some kind of a life cycle to it where it would last a little while, and now it's gotten to a point where it's like every 6 months they come out with something that. To be perfectly honest, the law of diminishing returns applies because it's not that much better.
They're just iterations, small iterations.
Exactly.
But that's why I don't upgrade every year either. I think that's a trap people fall into.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And I agree with your point.
You're always paying for a phone.
Yeah, I agree with your point if you're the type that thinks you have to have a phone every year. But like, I'm still rocking the Samsung Galaxy S23 Plus. So, you know what? I've had it for over 3 years now. So, you know what? When I get a new one, like, I don't see anything wrong with getting a more premium one because I'm going to keep it. And now they support them for 7 years.
Which is great. So, and Samsung is definitely better as far as that's concerned because they're not designing these things to fall apart. And I'm going to be getting a new phone probably around September, October because I've got a Google Pixel. I don't like the phone. I'm probably going to end up going back to an Apple just because I have all kinds of issues with trying to communicate with my wife.
That's not the phone's problem.
I'm aware. But the problem I run into with Apple, and there's a lot, this is just garbage corporate mentality, is designing these things like, oh yeah, we're going to send out an update to any phone that's older than 4 years old, and it's going to throttle your phone to the point where it barely functions.
That's just nuts. There was a lawsuit about that.
Yeah.
Wasn't there a lawsuit about that?
Yes, and I think they've stopped doing it for the most part, but I still think they do it to some extent. Because they're trying to incentivize people to go buy a new phone. So, yeah.
Well, when Verizon says I can upgrade to a new phone for free, that's really what incentivizes me more than anything else. Yeah. And I will say, my new Galaxy Watch Ultra.
Does it tell you?
Pretty freaking
does
sweet.
Does it count your steps?
Yes. Yes, it does, and yes, it does that too.
How come your heart rate spiked up to like 190 at 4 o'clock in the morning?
Don't worry about it.
Oh man!
This is my third Galaxy Watch, and I have kept them long enough, like several generations. Like they come out with a new generation probably once every year and a half.
Right.
And like my last one was a 5. And I think they're going to the 8 or 9 series now.
Yeah.
And I just traded in because the battery wasn't lasting a day.
Okay.
And they do really nice trade-ins. As long as it's in good condition, they will give you $200, $250 off a new one.
It's probably because there's $200 or $300 of gold in those things.
Yeah, probably. But I mean, hey, that's less that I have to pay for a brand new watch that I know is going to last me 3, 4, maybe 5 years. So
I'm actually going to start melting down my electronics so I can get the gold and copper out of them because they're definitely going to be worth way more than the phone is or ever was at that point.
you should probably start with those headphones.
And yes, yeah, and this is a new headset. Anyway,
Premium electronic devices.
Number one.
Number one.
And I'm sure nobody's going to be surprised at this one. Timeshares.
Oh, no, I didn't see that coming.
Horrible return on investment. If you put money into a timeshare, you're probably better off throwing it in the trash.
Oh.
Because the timeshare is going to keep costing you money. At least throwing the money in the trash, that money's just gone and you can move forward with your life. Timeshares are considered one of the worst financial investments of all time, specifically because of this. The secondary market for timeshares is saturated and abysmal, for lack of a better term.
So trying to like a reseller?
Yes, exactly. So
once you get in, you can't get
timeshare. I own a timeshare. I don't want it anymore. Nobody wants to buy it. I'm going to sell it. If I'm lucky enough to sell it, it's going to be pennies on the dollar compared to what I paid for it. So, yes.
So you go up.
Yeah. So if you're wanting to buy a timeshare from a perspective of Disney is somewhere I like to go regularly, and I'm going to buy a timeshare so I can have some property that I can go to regularly and be down there. That's fine, but just understand it's not an investment. You are throwing away money. It will not pay you back. You're going to be lucky if you get any of it back. And so there's definitely not going to be any appreciation in value. So the guy selling it to you, he knows that. So don't fall for it.
He's a lion sack of crap.
Yeah. So that's our 5 worst investment return on it. Sorry, worst purchases.
You can do it. I believe you.
That are the worst return on investment of all time. All of the times.
Look out, Caleb Hammer. We're coming for you.
With all 3 of our viewers. Yeah, I was watching some of his older videos, and he had 1,000 subscribers within 30 days, and I was like, "We're doing it wrong."
No, apparently.
Yeah.
What is it we're doing wrong, except for everything?
Whatever that is, we're doing it very wrong.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but yeah. So that was the top 5 things to not piss away money on because it's a horrible return on investment. So, yeah. And that leads us to our Going Deep segment. Is it time to go deep with Dick?
Yeah, I'm just pausing for the intro music.
Going deep with Dick.
It's just, I mean, you sent me that song for it. It's so great.
It is.
We need to get that in.
It is.
Anyway.
For whatever plug that I can get out of it, I have been goofing off with that Suno app for a long time now, and I am having a lot of fun with it.
I'm sure you are.
So I don't know if you saw this. I sent you a video. Yes, I believe it was last night. It was on Instagram. Yeah. It's this guy doing roofing work. If you haven't watched it, you do need to watch it because it is hilarious. Have you not seen it yet?
I don't see anything. Where did you send it to me?
It was on Instagram.
All right. Oh, brother. I deleted my Instagram a couple of years ago.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Well, no wonder you haven't seen it. Okay, so...
What are the 300 other ones you sent to me?
Let me see if I can find... Well, I'll send it to you after we get done with the podcast because it'll take me a minute to find it. But we're going to discuss it at length because it was one of the funniest videos I've ever seen. But immediately after that, this video pops up about these people. I guess so. So Suno is the AI song generator that I use. It's really fun to goof around with because you can make a song about pretty much anything. But
I'd love to help some other people.
But it has a new mode. Let me see what it's called. Okay, it's called Remi. REMI. It's the newest and most creative model, and it may generate content that some find offensive. And so some of the songs that it's generating are just unhinged hilarious. Like, and they're catchy too. So like they're really catchy songs and they're hilarious. So I'm going to send you a couple of them and we're going to review them next week because I fell out of my chair. I was laughing so hard at a couple of these songs. But yeah, anyway. So for whatever plug that's worth, Suno is incredible and it's a very fun tool to goof around with, and you just have to create an account through your Gmail account and you can get like I think it's 5 or 10 free song generations every day. So you can make them about whatever you want. And so it's really really funny and real fun to play around with. So anyway, all that to be said, now we're going to go deep with Dick. So what do you have for us this week, Mr. Dick?
Oh, man. You know what? I had a really crappy day today. Just seems like not getting anything done at work, like spinning my wheels. And my Rogue Ally died today as well. I think it got... I think the hard drive got fried in it.
Oh, you're talking about
my little handheld.
Yeah. Man, you gotta hate that. Especially as expensive as those things are. It's like, oh man.
Holy crap, man, yeah. Like I was looking at before we started, I was looking at like new ones, like what they cost now. And like the new Xbox one is like
$1,000.
It's $1,000.
Yeah.
It's $1,000.
Yeah. It's crazy.
And Asus announced, a new 20th anniversary version of the Ally that they're putting out. Haven't even announced a price yet, but I can't imagine it's going to be less than the Xbox one. So, just feeling a little depressed, like, gosh, like...
Well, that's one of the things that's interesting about society and how it's evolved in the last few years from a financial perspective. Because I'm going to use this ROG Ally that you're talking about as an example. So those things are like what, $600-$700 new?
So I got in on the pre-order back in 2023. It was $699.
Yeah. Okay.
So $700.
So $700 to pay for the thing. You got sales tax and shipping and all that stuff. Well, let's just keep it simple and say it's $700. Okay.
Right.
So, in 95, you go buy a Nintendo 64 and you pay, I think it was like $250 when it was brand new.
Yeah.
Which, adjusted for inflation is probably close to, $700 or $800 now. But that being said, if the Nintendo 64 breaks after 2 or 3 years, which they didn't do, I think there's still Nintendo 64s that exist that have never had a single bit of maintenance done on them, and they still operate as well as they did when they were first taken out of the box.
Right, yeah, sure.
But let's say that it did break down on you. You take it to a guy who can repair them, and he charges you $50 and he fixes it.
Yeah.
It takes him 3 or 4 hours, and he's fixed it, and he's happy, and you're happy because it's fixed again, and all that. Well, the cost of all labor has gotten so obnoxiously ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Now I paid $700 for this. I want to get it repaired, so I'm going to send it to a guy that repairs these things. It was $900 to repair. why didn't I just buy a new one?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
And
at that
so
point you might as well.
yeah, so it's one of these things where, there's been such a huge shift in cost and expense and how things function from a labor expense, because the labor used to be one of the cheaper aspects of consumer goods, and now it's one of the highest costs. So I totally get the frustration there, because it's like, okay, I want to fix this, but
Well, and I mean, I could probably. Well, I mean, if it is just the hard drive, I might be able to, at some point, get another one. Like it just, I can. There are teardown videos out there because when I bought it, it only came with 512 gig, which is a little small for that kind of a device. Yeah. I think a terabyte is really a better amount, because it's like you can't have that's many.
Like 4 games anymore.
Yeah, you can't have very many games on it, and it's it's supposed to be a higher performance handheld,
right?
More than the Steam Deck to run like almost some AAA. AAA PC game. I mean, there are
30 frames per second, good performance, all that. Yeah.
So, like, I might be able to bite the bullet at some point here in the near future and get a new NVMe with a terabyte on it, and I'm considering putting SteamOS on it.
Yeah.
Because it's a handheld, so SteamOS, at least for the Steam Deck, was designed to work on a mobile platform like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, I was looking at them, it's like, gosh, like, let's spend $150 to $300 on a new drive, depending on what it is you get. Like,
but the thing is it's like, from a financial perspective, it's the gamble that's the hard part, because it's like, okay, I paid $200-$300 for this hard drive, and I tried to fix it, and now it's still not fixed. So I'm out $300, and I've either got to buy a new one or send it off to be repaired professionally. Either way, it's going to cost me an enormous amount of money.
Well, and I mean, like, so it happened at work today. I take it to work, and I've got a dock that I set it up on, and it plays like, I have like music playing, so I just have something for some ambience, right? And we have something's wrong with the power outlet at my desk, which today's the first day I've noticed it. I don't think it's ever happened before, and it got fried. Like, there was a power surge through there. Yeah. My monitors were flashing on and off.
Yeah.
Throughout the day, and I was not really sure what was going on, and then I was waiting for my desk to come back, and the Ally is sitting at the BIOS screen, and it was saying, there's no bootable drive. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think it's just the the drive.
Yeah.
And if it's not and it still doesn't work, I've got a terabyte NVMe I can use somewhere else.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Silver lining.
Yeah, it's kind of disappointing, and it's like I'm wondering. I'm starting to feel like, am I at the point where, like, I got this thing and I was really excited about it, and for a while it filled a need for me, because when not long after I got it, we moved. And I didn't have access to my my normal computer. And I was taking classes and stuff, but because this was a Windows device, I was able to, make do. I could attach it to an external monitor and keyboard and mouse and use it like a full computer.
Right.
So, and now I'm like, well, but like, how much do I need this anymore? And so it's kind of like I'm at that age. It's like I'm starting to weigh some of those luxury things a little more. Like how much longer do I want to try and be doing this video game thing? Because I haven't played video games in a freaking long time.
It's that's actually a very interesting point from my perspective, because I've been actually having those kind of mental gymnastics for about a year and a half now. Like I'm the same way. I love playing video games. I've always enjoyed them. I've been playing video games since I was probably my son's age, 5, 6 years old. Had an original Nintendo Entertainment System. Loved playing on that thing. Played Legend of Zelda and Contra and all that stuff. And I've probably purchased. I try to budget for the most part if I'm gonna buy stuff. The only thing that I really will splurge in any capacity on is if I buy a new computer or pay for a new game every once in a while. Because I just don't typically want to waste a lot of income on stuff like that, but I want to at least do sometimes. And so the new Subnautica game came out. Subnautica 2 came out a few weeks ago. I got that. And the problem is I'm sitting back and I'm thinking, okay, I bought this game. I played it for, 3-4 hours now, 5 hours, however long it's been. And I'm getting to a point now where I'm just like, it's just not there for me anymore.
Yeah.
And I saw there's been a lot of new video game trailers that have come out in the last couple of days. I don't know if you've seen any of them, but two of my favorite games of all time are Final Fantasy VII and The Legend of Zelda: The Ocarina of Time. I mean, I've got it right here.
Yeah,
that's the original N64 version that I got.
Yeah,
had that.
I did hear. Sorry.
No, you're good. I was just gonna say those are my two favorite games of all time, barring one more, which is Chrono Trigger. Those three, my favorite games. And I just found out, like in the last week, that they're doing a remake of Ocarina of Time that's going to be released on the Nintendo Switch 2.
Yep.
Super jazzed about that. And the final part of the Final Fantasy VII remake is getting launched towards the end of this year, beginning of next year, I think. I think it's spring of 2027. And that's, those are two of the games that I've been waiting for probably 10, 15 years at this point. And so I'm like, okay, maybe these are going to be my quote unquote last big hurrah from a video game perspective.
Yeah.
And after that, it's like, maybe I'll play with my kids every once in a while.
Yeah.
But I've started realizing as I'm getting older in age that what I'm getting fulfillment from is so much more fulfilling for me that it's like, okay, the small level of dopamine that I get from turning on a new video game is just like, oh yeah, like I'm not getting fulfilled from this in any capacity.
No,
I'm just killing time.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I have so very little disposable time as it is now, and but when I get home at the end of the day and kids finally go to bed, like I don't have energy to do a lot of that stuff anymore. And
and it takes a lot of mental capacity to play video games well. And when you've spent it all on work and on your family and all of the stuff that you need to do throughout the day, it gets to the end of the day, it's like, I don't have any mental capacity left. That's a lot of the reason why, I play a handful of mobile games on my phone, just because it's like, well, this doesn't require an enormous amount of mental bandwidth. And I can just kind of veg out and goof off on my phone.
Yeah, no, that's why I mean, a lot of my Steam library now is older games, like games that I used to play that I have some nostalgia for. Very, very few, like, I did pick up Arc Raiders a few months ago, but like I barely played it. I feel like I barely played it. I have 13 and a half hours in it. And so now for me, it's like I am doing a cost analysis of, okay, this game costs me how much money and how long am I going to play it? And I'm trying to be realistic with myself here. Like, I'm going to play it, for not very long, and I'm going to spend $60-$70.
You know,
it's not worth it.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And actually, it's kind of a funny mind shift that's happened to me. I don't know if you've actually done this, but what's happened to me actually a few times in the last probably 6 months, I don't even look at a game that I want to play. I look at it and I'm like, okay, is this something that I think Lincoln or Evelyn would want to play in the near future?
Yeah.
And this is a stupidly good price. Like I've got, I have a Epic Games account, and they do like 2 free games about every week or so.
Yeah.
And most of them are pretty meh games, but I've gotten some real awesome games for free on there. The Lego Skywalker Master Edition was free, and so it has like all of the Lego Star Wars games on it. And I got them completely for free, and I know Lincoln's going to love playing those because he loves Legos. And Evie's probably going to want to play them too because we just started, we watched Star Wars for the first time. I let him watch A New Hope, and Evie loved it more than Lincoln did, which was actually surprising. She's been wanting to watch the second one for a long time, and I told her, I was like, you got to be prepared because Empire Strikes Back is the best Star Wars.
Yeah, no, I haven't gotten there yet. I did just get my kids. I got them each a new Android tablet, a Samsung A series.
Oh yeah,
and they're just loving those things right now. But like their gaming experience has been like, like either games from the Switch, which I'm very choosy about what we let them play. And
and you have to be.
It's been mostly like Mario Kart. They really liked Mario Kart World for a while, but then I got my son
Which is
started,
great, by the way.
Yeah, I got my son started in Minecraft, and that is the obsession. Balloon 6 is also there.
Okay,
but like my kids, they will play so well together in the Minecraft. They've got several worlds that they just can jump into.
That's awesome. Lincoln has just started wanting to get into the Minecraft stuff. I've told me and Anno had some extensive conversations about this, and I told her, I was like, Roblox is not happening.
No,
I have heard too many insane horror stories about that game. Like, there's no way.
No.
But Minecraft has enough controls in place that I can make sure that there's not that garbage happening.
Yeah. And one of the things that I really want to do now, and this is like you said you've been looking at games with the context of what the kids like this.
Yeah.
Is now I'm like I want to get into more home lab stuff. So I'm thinking, because I want to set up my own servers and like all that stuff. And we've talked a little bit about that. And I'm like, man, I need to set up my own Minecraft server so that we can have like a family server, and we can invite some people,
family
on it
and
too,
friends.
like,
Like you can have very specific people on it,
and have a perpetual server that the kids can get on with. Like, my sister's kids, my nephews, are big into Minecraft as well, and they have like a realm that they pay for. And I was just thinking, man, it'd be kind of cool, like, to get everyone, together on this on a map. It'd be sick.
Yeah.
So that's like now my push is like, how can I keep this environment like engaging and mostly innocent for them?
Oh yeah, and like there's I know what you're talking about from an innocence perspective, but it's also, one of the things that I don't think a lot of parents really understood when we were growing up, playing Nintendo games and maybe to a slightly lesser extent, Super Nintendo games and Sega Genesis and stuff like that. But like, I know for me, like, I'm going to use Contra as an example. Did you ever play the original Contra? It's one of the hardest games of all time. It is insanely difficult. It is a run and gun bullet time game
Yeah.
Where, I'm sure you've seen it at least.
Yeah, I know. I'm familiar with what it is.
Yeah. So I played that game, that and Ninja Gaiden, Ninja Gaiden, whatever. Those were the two games I played all the time on the Nintendo.
Yeah.
Punishingly difficult. Like,
right.
Punishingly difficult. And as a 5-year-old, 6-year-old playing those games, it's like, okay, first off, we didn't have computers, so there was no way to figure out what to even do.
Yeah.
You just played through as best you can and had to memorize and know everything that was about to happen to you, which, we didn't know at that time that there was any kind of patterns to this stuff. You just play and discover it as you're playing. And you die, you start over. And you learn from it. And you keep on, you just beat your head against a brick wall until the brick wall breaks.
Mm.
And there was something to that from a perspective of trial and error, exploration and discovery, that it programmed a lot of our generation to look at things in a very different way than generations prior to us had.
Yeah.
Because that dopamine fix came from having to have success.
Yeah.
You had to figure it out. And when you beat the final boss of the game, you felt accomplished because it's taken you all kinds of time to actually get to that point. And it was difficult. And so going from that kind of a game, I was talking to Anna about this the other day. I was like, I'm thinking about setting up some kind of I don't know if I would necessarily say that it's a punishment, but it's probably not a bad idea because I have the Nintendo Switch subscription service where you have access to all those old Nintendo games. Like, okay, you're in trouble, and if you want to get out of trouble, you got to beat Contra. Figure out how to beat all the bosses in The Legend of Zelda.
Then talk to me.
Yeah.
If you can beat the water temple in this amount of time.
Exactly. And so it's just kind of a different shift in mentality. But, so many of these games anymore, they're just designed around holding your hand and escorting you through the game process. It's just not what it used to be. And so, like I said, I'm trying to figure out how to incentivize and motivate, learning and hard work and dedication and things like that through play, whether that's through video games or, other activities that they're doing. But as a father trying to implement and instill those values of perseverance into your kids, it's not easy to figure that out. And there's so many easy dopamine hits that you got to figure out how to get them to do the things that are not just an easy 1-2 punch and I've got my dopamine hit,
We
allow yourself to be bored and frustrated.
I got at the same time I got the kids the tablets, I got one of these digital calendars. Digital calendar, like family organizer things. I got the Cozilla.
Okay.
Because it's like an Android tablet and it doesn't take any subscriptions like the Skylight does.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you can set up like reward structure and stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And so like my wife has it set like you earn stars for doing chores, doing different tasks. And she has it set so that like they reach a certain amount of stars, they can redeem those for extra time on their tablets.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Because right now their tablets are set so that they don't, like they have them, like I don't know, like here's the thing.
Yeah.
And here's the password to it. You can open it at any time, but that doesn't mean that you can use it anytime.
Right, exactly.
Because the Family Link controls allow me to specify between what hours they actually have access.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And then for how long they actually have access. So between like noon and 8, they can have an hour.
Yeah, but if you use it up at noon, it's gone for the rest of the day.
Gone for the rest of the day, unless they've gotten enough points that they can request extra time through the reward system.
Yeah,
but, so there's that like trying to teach some of that like delayed gratification and that your work has value and like how are you going to spend it, and this new thing that they've got access to, like hey, put Google Chat on it, and we've got like a family chat group so the kids can message us, and the idea was like, the wife and I want to go on a walk by ourselves, and the kids are home alone-ish.
Oh,
like we can still be in the neighborhood,
and they can message you if there's a problem.
Yes. But like as soon as their tablets come online,
10 now.
He's
right?
9. He's 9.
Yeah.
So as soon as their tablets become active, like I start getting bombarded with messages from them, and mostly it's just silly crap.
Yeah.
And today, somebody used up their entire hour on Google Chat and then couldn't do anything on it the rest of the day, and they were very upset.
Of course, yeah. I just wanted to talk to you.
And like my son was like messaging me. He's like, and he's like, "Hi," and I'm like at work. It's like, "Hello." And he's like, "Is that all you're gonna say?" I'm like, "Bro, I'm at work."
Yeah.
Like I don't have time to sit around and message you. If you have a question, you can ask me, but I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of like social learning and like responsibility learning, and like I know my wife was reticent for a while about going down this path with them, but like I think it's probably a good thing now before they have access to cell phones.
Oh yeah, because the problem is you don't want to expose it. There has to be some level of introduction without overdoing it.
Yeah.
And that's very hard to ride because there's a fine line there, and it is incredibly fine. But it's like, okay, you got to keep it reasonable, but you can't not do it at all, or it's going to cause you real problems when they do get a cell phone. Although at this point, it's going to turn into the point where it's like, okay, you're not getting a smartphone. You can have a flip phone. You can figure it out. You can figure out how to T9 for a while.
Let's not go down that rabbit hole tonight.
Yeah. But no, I completely agree with you, and it's kind of interesting from a mentality shift that, I just was thinking the same kind of thing that you are, is like, is this really what I want to be doing with my spare time anymore? Is this worth my time and money? Because now there's significant investments, and we have other things that we need to be spending money on. It's like, okay, well, my kids need braces, but I'd rather have a video game system.
Yeah, dude, it gets more difficult, and it's like,
I think we just need to wait until retirement, and then like by that point they're gonna have the whole thing in the back of your neck, and you can just be 20 again.
Can you imagine the backlog Steam catalog you'd have by that point?
Oh man, yeah.
I mean, I've already got quite a backlog anyway, but I don't know. I'm keeping my eye on the Steam
Final Fantasy.
Yeah, the real Final Fantasy. I'm keeping my eye on this Steam Machine thing, and if it's not a terrible deal, like if it's not stupid like pricey, then that might be the last thing that I buy to do gaming on.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's the going deep segment for this week. Talking about how when you get older, what used to give you your jollies don't do it anymore. So anyway, well, that is our show for the week. So thanks everybody for stopping by. Sorry, I jacked up my wrist or shoulder or something like that because I sneezed wrong and laid down in the bed. My bed is too soft, so I hurt myself.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So anyway, so that is the end of our episode. So we will catch y'all next time. And remember, today is another day. So
go to sleep. I mean, go out there and make a great one.